Hi, and thank you for being an election officer clerk. Your duties for that day are going to be listed inside the training manual that we gave you. But when you get there that morning, you're going to have your black bag. What you're going to do first of all is get your supplies out and just lay them out. We'll go over what the supplies are one at a time. And then you can just put your black bag somewhere away out of people's way. The very first thing that we would recommend that you do that morning while your mind is fresh is to do your pay sheet. This is how you're going to get paid. Very simple. It's got your precinct name, the election date, your name, and your address. A representative from our office will be by sometime that morning to pick up your pay sheet. So if you want to pick up your check that night, you can. No problem. If you're wanting someone to pick up your check for you, make sure you put that on the pay sheet, because we're not going to give it to someone that says, well, I'm going to pick up so-and-so's check. Make sure we got that in writing. If you want to pick it up the next day, let us know. Probably after 2 days, your check's going to be mailed, and it will be mailed to the address that you've got here. So make sure you get your complete mailing address. You can do that. You could put that aside. No problem there. The next thing you need to do is your election officer's badges. Make sure you put your name on there. These will just come right off. Make sure you stick them somewhere on your shirt. That way, if someone comes in, they're going to know that you are a worker that day. So you've got 4. You will have 1 for a judge, 1 for judge, 1 for clerk, 1 for sheriff. So make sure you put your name tags on, so in case someone does need to come in, they will know that you are there working. Then put your supplies out in order. You're going to have a voter assistant form. You will have some blue oath of voters. You will have some blank voter registration cards. Now these forms are new. We will go over them a little bit later. They're going to be the yellow forms. Authorization to vote. When we get into the EPO books a little bit later, we'll go over that. You want to have some scrap paper, a box of ink pens, your instructions on provisional votes, and we'll go over that a little bit later also. We've got our phone number on different things here. If you have any questions during the day, call us. The blue books that we have now, when you open those up, they're going to have a list of people that have already voted absentee in your polling place. You will have a tan supplemental roster, and you will have a green provisional signature roster. Since we use the EPO books, I would just put this somewhere out of your way also. It's going to take up room. If a voter comes in to vote, you as the clerk, you're going to check them in. We'll do that with the EPO books. So if someone comes in, they're registered to vote, you find it on the EPO books, that's fine. The reasons they are going to have to show identification this time. Most of the people know driver's license. Driver's license is a very easy way to scan, and it also identifies people with the voter. But there are other identifications that they may use. They may use anything that's got a picture ID. It could be a military ID with a picture, photo, name. It could be a student ID. These are also listed in your book that you have that we gave you at the first training or the makeup training. I'm trying to find these real fast. And they are listed on page 28, which driver's license is the very first one. That's the most common one. A document issued by the United States government with the name and photo. a student ID, you can do any of that. But if you do have a voter that comes in and they don't have an ID with them then, that's where the new yellow forms are going to come into effect. You as the clerk, you will give the voter an ink pen, and the voter will complete the yellow form. And it's very simple, and it says that they are a citizen of the United States. I'm a qualified voter. That is if someone comes in, they have no ID, you as the clerk or any of the other 3 election officers knows you personally. So if they use that, the voter completes the 8.5 by 11 form, you as the clerk, the smaller form. Everything is very simple. It just says you've got a name, you know the identity of John Doe, you sign this off as election officer, and you date it. The voter's going to have to complete that form, they sign it, and they date it. Any of these forms that you complete, make sure when you complete them, put them to the side and put them face down. You have a voter that comes in on election day. You can't find their name in the e-poll books. They magically think that if they move from one end of the county to the other end of the county, that we're gonna have a crystal ball or something that we automatically know to check those. Driver's licenses are real good about helping us with address changes if we change them, but that doesn't happen all the time. So if someone comes in and they are a registered voter within Floyd County, but they have moved, say they have moved from Allen to Prestonsburg, that's when you're gonna call our office, because you can't find them on the e-poll books. They're not on the supplemental roster that we've already had. If you cannot get up with us that day, and we've got 3 lines coming through, there is also a verification that we can go through the state to call to get the information from the state. If a voter has moved within the county and they are registered, they are to vote where they actually live. At that time, we're going to tell you, yes, John Doe, they are registered, they are whatever their party is, and at that time, we're gonna ask you to open up your blue book. The voter is going to complete this tan supplemental roster. Once again, it's very, very simple. It's going to have the voter's name, the address, they have to sign their date of birth, their party, and what proof of identification that they provided, and you as the clerk will initial this off. Most of your voters that day, if they have moved, it's going to be the same thing. We're going to tell you to complete a blue oath of voter, a new voter registration card, and sign the supplemental roster. But we will also tell you what party that voter is registered at, because remember, in the primaries, you have to vote within your party boundaries. In the general, they can cross over. So Democrats vote Democrats, Republicans, Republicans. If they are an independent, libertarian, Green Party, anything besides a Democrat or Republican, they get a nonpartisan ballot. So everybody gets to vote this time. Everybody. We do have a nonpartisan. But going back, if you cannot find that voter in the e-poll book, we're going to ask you to give the scrap sheet of paper that you've got, have the voter write their name, their birthday, or their social security number on there, and then you're, as the clerk or one of the judges or sheriff, whoever's not busy that time, they need to go to a phone and call our office. Once again, we've got our phone number everywhere. You'll call us with that information. Identity theft is a big thing these days. So once you call and you verify that that voter is a registered voter in the county, give this back to the voter. They can do whatever they want to with it. You don't have to keep it yourself. If someone comes in and they need voter assistance, you do have voter assistance forms. And there's only 3 reasons why a person would need voter assistance: blindness, physical disability, or inability to read English. And those are the 3 reasons only. We have a lot of people, if they come in and they vote absentee, husband wants to go back with the wife, wife wants to go back with the husband. They can't do that unless they qualify for one of these 3 reasons. Once again, you as the clerk, you're going to put the name of your voter, the birthday, the residential address, your precinct name. You're going to say if they need to be certified on a permanent basis or not certified for a permanent basis. You have to check the reason: blindness, physical disability, or inability to read English. The voter will sign this, and whoever is giving the assistance to the voter, they will need to complete this bottom form and sign off on that. You as the clerk, you go on, you date that, you sign off on it, turn it down. You don't want the next voter to be able to look and get all the information that they need. If a voter has been deemed on a permanent assistance needed, and the county board agrees with that, it's going to show up in your e-poll books. If that's the case, the voter does not have to sign this top part, but whoever is giving the assistance will still have to continue. If a voter brings their own person, that's fine. That person can go and help the voter. But if they do not, we recommend 2 people go behind the machine, preferably 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. And what we do downstairs, if someone comes in needing a voter assistance, 1 will read off the names, the other one will mark the ballot for the voter. Don't ever go behind the machine, you as election officer, with only 1 person. Make sure that you cover yourself. The people that cannot assist a voter, and it is here in this book, it is if it, I am not the voter's employer, an agent of that employer, or an officer or agent of that voters union. Those are the only people that cannot go behind the machine to assist a voter. A few years ago, we did have an audit after each election. The Attorney General's office goes on, they pick out several counties to do an audit. What was told to us was Floyd County was one of the best, if not the best audit they had ever done. People, we want to keep it that way. Make sure that your paperwork is done correctly. When you do it, turn it face down. If you have any questions at all that day, you call us. It does not matter what a small question or a large question. If you get voters that say that, well, I'm a registered Republican and you've got me down as a Democrat, call us. Let us talk to the voter. We'll take the heat for you that day because we appreciate you so much for coming in to serve that day. We don't want you getting any heat at all. We'll take it all for you. We do have the I voted stickers this time. So after a voter will complete that, you will give this to the voter. If they have kids, I don't have a problem with giving a kid a sticker. Kids love stickers anyway. If you have a line of people, don't go on and let them sign in on the e-poll books that early because something may happen. So at the end of the day, then you're going to have more people sign in on the book that actually voted on the machine. So make sure you only vote. You only be able to let the person sign as they're getting ready to go vote. Now we also have a provisional ballot. For provisional ballots this time, it is a federal race only. And that's all. It doesn't have any of the county races on it. And a provisional ballot is, if you cannot find a voter's signature on that in the e-poll books, we can't find them. We like to call it a feel-good ballot. They're mad, they know they registered to vote, we can't find them. You can't find them in your book, we can't find them in ours, and the state can't find them on their database. So what we would recommend that you do then, and this is only if the county board tells you to, as you get them that morning, these are gonna have a seal on them. If you don't have to open them, don't open them up, because what we're gonna do that evening, if we see that seal's not broke, we're gonna take this green piece of paper out, we're gonna sling this to the side. Hey, we've been there just as long as you all have been at the polls, and we want to get home also. So if the county board tells you not, if the county board does not recommend issuing a provisional ballot, don't even take that seal off. But if they do, what you're going to do is you will open that up. You'll cut the seal. Inside of a provisional ballot orange construction bag, you're going to have 2 sets of envelopes. We're going to have one that just says provisional voter, one that will have the information on it. you will have a green strip of paper. There is one paper ballot for a Democrat and one for a Republican. So if the person says that they know that they are a registered Republican, the county board says we'll give them a provisional ballot. You as the clerk, you're gonna fill this top section out. It's very simple. It's the name, it's your initials, it's your precinct name. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this, you're gonna tear it off, you're going to give the voter their paper ballot, an ink pen, and the one that just says red, you're gonna tell them to go over there in private and mark their ballot. They can finish their ballot, they can put it in this envelope, then this envelope fits in this envelope, and then you as the election officer, you will have to complete the outside of that. Very simple, printed name, and it gives the reasons a voter whose name does not appear on the precinct roster and whose registration status cannot be determined by the precinct official. Voter's name who does not appear at the precinct roster and who has been verified as ineligible. Voter who does not have identification. Voter who is voting as a result of a federal court order under state law 10 days prior to the election. If you have a voter and they do this and they say, you know what, I hit the wrong one, they can bring that one paper ballot back to you. You're gonna write spoiled on that ballot, place it back in the orange bag. You're gonna give them a second one. If they come in and they say that they messed the second one up, it's just like baseball. 3 strikes, you're out. They only get 3 chances. But most of them, it's only federal races. It is not county. If you do not have to use that this night, let me back up. If you do issue one, you can give the voter this. They can go online to see if their vote counted, or they can call our office that evening. Here's your instructions. They're very simple. The state's also got what their provisional process is. But if you do not have to issue one of them, we still require that you fill out the back part of this green paper. Very simple. What it does, you've got a little plastic, opens up, peels up. You're gonna have what your number issued are. This is if you had to open it up and use it. You still have to sign off on this. Put this back inside the little plastic sleeve. Because we have to have that night. As you bring your election supplies back, you will bring back everything except the large scanner that the judges will use. There will be gentlemen out front. They will help you carry your bags in and your supplies in. You're gonna see us up and down the hallway that night with boxes because we've got to be open for business at 8 a.m. the next morning. Very important, I guess I should have said this at the very start. Make sure that as you get your supplies out, your roster book has got your correct precinct on there. Your provisional ballot has your correct precinct on there. If you have any questions, you call us. That's what we're here for. Good luck.